Bade axed. Lodi not happy, wants to leave. Lingard apparently rumoured as well to be going. Mbe Soh on his way out in January. What is going on in Nottingham Forest and what are all these rumours and stories? Let's get into it. Good morning, good evening, or good night, wherever in the world you are, whatever time of day you are watching this. Hope you're having a wonderful day and welcome to your latest Forest news, or should I say latest Forest rumours mill about everything pretty much to do with our defence and a couple of attacking players. I'm going to go through a few of the stories today, but as always, before I do, if you'd be kind enough to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. And tonight, just a quick shout out to the Forest Fan Hub. They'll be doing a Forest stream from 7:30. The link for that stream is in the description below. So if you want to get in and get some live chat going on, please tune in to Ez and Joe as the boys take you through all of the relevant Forest topics in a live forum tonight. Guys, let's get into this and let's talk about Bade. So this Bade story is quite infuriating if true. The sources are coming from French papers. Obviously, Nottingham Evening Post have had their say, but who really cares about what they say? I've had a look at the French sources and it seems quite clear. We reported about this a couple of weeks ago, actually, that Bade was going to be leaving in January. But what's developed is the story from back in October. Now, it seems to be that Cooper made his mind up very early days that Bade was not in his plans. And Forest struck a deal with Bade's parents' clubs, Rennes or Rons or however you pronounce it, that they would not play him at all after October, basically after they'd agreed that they no longer want him, so that he can then go back on loan again to a further club. Now, why is this relevant and important? Because no player can represent 3 clubs in a year. So had he played for Forest, he wouldn't have been able to be reloaned out to another club to get game time. So he's going to go back in January and then be reloaned, should I say, back out following that. Now, I don't really like this story or the way this is conducted for a couple of reasons. Reason number one is we loaned him and it's up to us how we do or don't play him. The other thing I don't like is that we didn't actually play him, so we never got to see what he was like at all. But the one that really bugs me is how are Forest being held to ransom about how they dictate who gets used on and off our pitch. And that for me is not acceptable at all. Look, there's probably something in the agreement where they said they'd re-pick up his wages. So he's been basically training with Forest for free for us, but his parent club has been paying it. It just is such a dumb story and it's such a dumb setup if all is true. And from the French sources that I've seen, it seems quite realistic. But Bade's getting axed, ladies and gentlemen, so we are not seeing him. That then brings you on to the next question of what the hell is the point in him playing these friendlies? Now, that's the only thing that makes me think maybe there's a little glimmer of untruth to this, because why would we waste a slot on a player who's not going to be with us in about 4 weeks' time, where we could be testing out someone else who could potentially, have an amazing preseason, mid-season, preseason thing. And so it's just a complete mess of a story. I'm going to keep unpicking this one, but I know a lot of you have been asking me in the comments just to kind of explain to you exactly what's happening in this story. But still, based on what we said about 2 or 3 weeks ago, Bade's definitely going to be going back to France. It would take a miracle for him to be staying. And by miracle, I mean playing every preseason, clean sheets, performances, maybe a couple of goals from Scarpa, corners, etc. But he's gone and it just really frustrates me. It really does, because he's not the only defender that's on his way out in January. Mbe Soh's the next one on the list, probably going out on a loan move. Again, another person who, not just under Cooper to be fair, but under even Houghton, was never really given a chance. A player that's come from PSG, does have potential. He's huge. He's built like a brick wall. And again, he's been given time in these preseason matches. And I just don't know if there's these agreements in the background where they're playing them to showcase them to other clubs, like we're doing with Bade at the moment. Like Bade, we're almost third-party franchise selling him on by playing him. What's the benefit to us? Look, if he's going in January, go, yeah, I don't want him to go. I'd rather he played because I think he's decent. But why are we now like reselling the product for someone and we're not getting a cut from it? It's just so weird what's going on at the moment. But Mbe Soh is definitely going to be on his way out as well in January, out on loan most likely. And then we've still got loads of other stories going on. The Jesse Lingard story is resurfaced about him being kind of us cutting our losses on him in January. I still don't think there's enough truth in that for it to happen. And I think we will keep him. There's nothing to be gained by getting rid of him. But the big one is Lodi. So again, more unrest stories. Let's talk about this Lodi one. Lodi has apparently told Forest that he's not happy at Nottingham Forest and wants to return to either Atletico or go back to his to Brazil, where to the club that he first started with. Off the top of my head, I can't remember which one it is. This again is like all yappa from the papers, because there's a few things we got to consider. Lodi coming to Forest on loan wasn't a freebie deal like Bade. With Bade, he's on loan. You pick up X percentage of his wages, and then you play him or you don't play him, whatever, and then you can ship him back. He had an option to buy clause at the end of it for like 12 mil or something. With Lodi, we do have an option to buy of, I think it's 25 mil, but we've already paid a loan fee for him for the whole year of 5 mil. So for Lodi to terminate his loan fee, his loan agreement, Forest would be stupid to agree to it unless he's really causing unrest in the club. Because it's not like you're going to Tesco's, you know, you don't get 30-day money back guarantee on this. Once you've agreed it, that £5 million has gone to Atletico in Madrid and we won't see it back. So really, the Lodi one for me makes no sense for it to happen. And I still expect to see Lodi come January. And now that Scarpina, and shout out to Palmeiras fans, by the way, guys, going forward, Scarpa needs to be referred to as Scarpina. That's his nickname for those of you who are interested. So let's get that message started and trended. But yeah, with Scarpina now at Forest, Lodi's found himself a new friend. And by friend, I mean someone he can obviously converse with in Portuguese. And it's not just Cafu, etc. So I just still see Lodi being there. Maybe I've got some Lodi goggles on. I know you guys will take the mick and say that. But just think about it logically. Why would we have wasted the 5 million? It's just stupid. And we haven't utilized them enough. And we still haven't even seen the best out of Lodi because we're not playing him right or in the right games. He's been chucked in some pretty tough games. So I don't see that happening. And I also see him potentially linking up maybe with Scarpina down the left-hand side. So we'll see how that one goes. But I don't buy the Lodi one. There's no truth in it for me. The other problem Forest have got is the quote-unquote Deadwood that we've got within the squad. Look, there's definitely other stories of players coming into Forest or being linked to Forest. We've brought a few of those to you over the last week or so, and there's a lot more piling up. Again, a lot of it's paper talk. But we'll bring you the ones that seem to have more weight than others. But today's more about those going out. And we've still got an absolute bucket list of people that need to go. We've got Lyle Taylor. You got Harry Arter, who's just sitting there picking up his paycheck week in, week out, refusing to terminate his contract as well. You got Cafu sitting there unregistered, and loads of other kind of fringe players and players out on loan and things like that. It's getting quite bulky. Forest tend to, at the moment, have a problem that, yes, we've brought in loads of these players. Yes, there was a lot that left in the summer, but there's still more that needed to go. So something Forest needs to prioritize is getting rid of the likes of the Lyle Taylors, the Cafus, if he's not going to be re-registered. And then you got some other like Deadwood, as I would call it, within the squad. People like Jack Colback needs to go. In my opinion, I think Cook should go because, I think there's better options that we should be looking at as a Premier League team than him. Again, nothing against these players, but we got to start formulating a squad properly and not just piling players up. It ends up being like bloody FIFA where you go through your club and you just got hundreds of these bronze cards in there and you just do a quick sell, you know. But anyway, joking aside, these players need to be shipped out. My worry about it is that these players may be showcased during these preseason friendlies, and they have been so far in a lot of these instances. And we're not going to see much gelling going on between the actual first 11 players or the first 15 to 20 players who are going to make part of that squad. So it's a bit of a frustrating video where everything feels in limbo at the moment, and we really need that door opened on the 1st of January so that players can depart and those ones we want to see come in. So it's just messy, guys. It's messy, guys. But as far as I'm concerned, players that do need to go will be the likes of Colback, will be the likes of Cook, Arta, Cafu, potentially, even though I do like Cafu as a squad player, and Lyle Taylor, as well as Bade going. We're probably going to deregister Biancone, even though he will still be a Forest player. But with the injury being that long term, he needs to go. But it's not just, you know, if we just were to forget the Deadwoods for a second and you just look at the registered players, if you got rid of Bade and you got rid of Biancone, that's only 2 slots you've made available. Potentially, you know, the rumors about Jesse Lingard, let's pretend for a second they're true. I don't believe they are, by the way, because the club haven't come out and confirmed or denied it, which kind of makes you think they're just ignoring it as a story. But if you were to get rid of those 2, that means we can only bring in 2 players, unless, of course, they're under the age of 21, which means you can pile in as many of those as you want. But most of the players Forest are being linked with the exception of 3 or 4, are over the age of 25, let alone 21. So Forest will need to get rid of a few players. Now, I'll ask you guys this question. If you had the option of getting rid of a few players, and let's put the old caveat in before, you know, the... well, you know the type of fans will be that you're not saying it because you hate them or whatever. But if you are being strategic about this, which players would you see or move on? And they could potentially be players that we have already signed this summer who've had very limited airtime that maybe need to be moved on so that some better quality players come through. As far as I'm concerned, and I've said it over the last few weeks in a few of the forums, we need to be targeting, in my opinion, 3 players, but 3 quality players. And that's where the money should go. I would like to see 30 to 40 million spent on a striker. We could have had Ramos in the summer for 25 to 30 million. Now, after he's performed for Portugal, you can add 5 million per goal on that. I'd like to see a CDM brought in. But most importantly for me, a defender with power and pace is essential who can pair up with Niakate. If we are serious about being a Premier League squad, then we have to be serious about the types of players we buy and stop with the sentimentality. The likes of Cook are not good enough. The likes of Worrell, although better than Cook, is not good enough. Bolly is in his 30s. Yes, he has Prem experience, but he's had a couple of good games, but don't let that mask you know, how good or not he is. Bear in mind, he came from a Premier League club that were ready to let him go. So that has to hold some weight as well. There's a lot going on at the moment. I just wanted to give you a general overview of the outages, if you like, rather than those coming in currently. But let me know your thoughts about any of the stuff we spoke about today. I'd be interested to hear how much of it you think is true and how much of you think it's paper talk, aka BS. All right, guys, hope that helps you. Hope it clears up a few things for you. We'll wrap the video up there. Please do hit that like button, subscribe, and become a member if you'd like to support us. On top of that, don't forget to check out Ez and Joe tonight on the Forest Fan Hub. The link will be in the description. They'll be kicking off from 7:30 tonight, so make sure you tune in. I'm sure they'll cover a few things that we've discussed today. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you on tomorrow's video. Come on, you Reds.